Welcome to Chapter 3 of Chronicles of the Cosmic Scavenger Hunt. This is the final of three chapters talking about the March 2025 eclipse portal and the energy that was coming up for me and what I was noticing around me as well. And with the metaphor of the slingshot pulling you back to allow all of the stuff that needed to be healed and integrated to come to the surface, the shadow aspects, what needed to be seen to launch you forward. And so, in this final of three parts of that story, it's taken me a while to get to the point where I was ready to share it because even though I captured it pretty real time, it was like this download came from my higher self of what I wanted to say. There was still something blocking me from actually sharing it. And so this episode is all about reclamation of my voice, reclamation of my power, reclamation of my meanness. And I'm not going to say too much more about it. I feel excited and a little bit scared to share this. And that tells me it's probably the right thing to do. So I'm just going to leave it there. Enjoy it and let me know what you have thought if you've watched all three of these chapters, any reflections. And I'm also getting ready to capture what's been happening since then, because now that I look back on why I needed to create all of that space, it's become so clear to me. The things that downloaded at the beginning of April, now at the beginning of May, I can see just how powerful they were. So I'll leave it there for now. Enjoy chapter 3. The slingshot energy is real. And even when I was in the slingshot of the eclipse corridor, I was getting pulled back, old things were rising to the surface, my energy was really drained. The ego mind started going, what is wrong? That is what was happening. Because I was getting pulled back to unveil something very big that is going to launch me forward into my full purpose. And if I hadn't done that, if I hadn't seen all of the things that had arisen, it would all still be in my shadow, and I wouldn't see that I had this massive wounding around stepping into my power and being afraid to shine. And part of that is because we believe we have been taught through the old masculine colonial system that if one person succeeds, then the other person cannot succeed. There's this scarcity of power and success, and that is not the way forward. We have just shifted into the age of Aquarius, which is power together. We can all succeed. My beautiful friend had this vision of this big circle of all of us here in the local area with these light bulbs lighting up above our heads. And I could see it as, a big group of women holding hands, coming together in circle to lift each other up and not be in competition, because my light is not a threat to your light. My light can help activate yours, illuminate something within you, just like you can do for me. So my light can awaken your light, and yours can awaken mine. And I truly believe that. And that is how I want to live. I don't want to live being afraid that if I lift my sister up, that somehow takes away from what I'm doing. We each have our own unique, beautiful gifts. No two people are alike. And someone who resonates with me to work with me may not resonate with you, and vice versa. And at different stages in our journey, we will want to work with different people. And then I believe that as a guide, a way shower, a spiritual doula, if you may, I will hold people's hands or shine the light for a stage in their journey, and then they will have gained what they needed to. They will have expanded how they needed to in that stage. And then they may be ready to go off on their own, or they may resonate with someone else to work with. And that is beautiful. And I think we need to honor that. And power is not dangerous. That is another thing that I've had to learn. And I still have some work to do on this. I still need to sit in meditation and really go back into the core pain around the wounding of believing that if I shine my light, I will be punished. There's still work to do there, but it is in my conscious awareness now. And I am stepping out of the role of sidekick. I'm stepping out of the role of protege. I am here on a mission. I am meant to be an unshakable authority in my truth. It is written in my human design. It is written in my soul. And my cat agrees. Thank you, Cat Stevens. Do you like helping me, Cat Stevens? I love having you in here. Thank you. What a good boy. We are being pulled backward. And that means, old patterns will come up, things that we thought we had dealt with, or even shadow aspects that we weren't aware of will come up to be seen, to be integrated, to be healed. And in doing so, that is going to launch us forward to be more aligned with our wholeness and our truth, to help us expand our consciousness, to expand the collective consciousness of all humanity and all beings. That is the level of mission that I am here for. And so even though I was aware of that energy, I still, in the midst of it, had thoughts of what's going on. Why does my energy feel so drained? Why are these old patterns of, rumination, doubting myself, things like that, why are they coming up? I thought I was more healed than this. But no, it was all here to help illuminate things that needed to be seen, to culminate in a really big awakening of a way. I mean, within the spiritual journey, my experience is that there are multiple awakenings, and each time you get to a new level of understanding of a place where you are not whole, where there is fracture, wounding, density. Once you see that, integrate it, kind of release that energy, so much more light floods in, and it is like a new level of being. I mean, that to me, that's what up-leveling feels like, what jumping timelines feels like. You now are coming at things from this new level of being, new level of consciousness. What has come up was understanding that I had a deep-seated fear of shining my light, of stepping into my power, claiming my truth. I had a fear that I would be punished, that I would be ostracized, I would be criticized, I would be killed. Like real deep fear, primal fear. And it kept me in the very comfortable role of student, of sidekick, of protege, the second in command, but not the leader. Despite all of the success that I've had throughout my life, I never felt comfortable being in that role because it felt dangerous to me. And times when I was in that role, I would have my reality reflect that it was dangerous. And so then I would step back. And so the message I keep getting is the time is now. There is a reason I have started sharing more. And this process itself is even part of this realization, because as I've been sharing little bits and a little bit more and a little bit more, but afraid to share the truth of what I feel and what I believe my mission is here, how I believe that I can support people, where I'm coming from, because I don't want to be misunderstood. Now I am just going for it, because I know that the only way for me to step through some of these fears is just to do it. So that's why I'm sharing this now. And I do think that this theme around reclaiming sacred, healthy power is critical for me, and my sense is this is going to be critical for the collective as well. This is what the age of Aquarius is about. I think it's Neptune and Aries. All of this, everything that's happening astrologically and what we see playing out on the world stage is all about the old power structures crumbling. And it feels like chaos and it's scary in the moment. And I trust that that is what is required for us to move to a new way of being. And I have to do that within myself before I'm going to be ready to lead anyone else in doing that. And so that's what I'm doing now. And I'll probably do a separate post on the difference between unhealthy and healthy power. I think it's really important for us to start holding a vision of what it can look like when we sit in circle eye to eye. We're not in a hierarchy. We are here to lift each other up. No one's here to save anyone. No one is here to be the ultimate authority. But I do know that I am meant to be an unshakable authority in my truth. My word for 2025 is reclamation. And I did not realize how powerful that was going to be. But when you set those types of intentions, things start happening. And so this is a reclamation of my identity, or actually a dying of my old identity, a reclamation of my wholeness, of my truth, of my voice, my power, and stepping out of the shadows and healing the sisterhood wounds, healing the wounds with the feminine, and becoming the woman that I needed when I was a kid. Yes. I've known for a long time that I'm a cycle breaker in my family. And I am becoming the woman that I needed, the mother that I needed. And I am also seeing that my success is a service. It is not a threat. I am here in service. And that feels so true in the core of my being. I have a conscious choice statement that I state that always polarizes me in service to others. I am here for the service to humanity and all consciousness. And I do not consent to any control, infringement, or enslavement. Those old ways of being are dying. And I recently got the message, and this one is scary to say because this is going even further out on a limb, but this is what I'm doing, so here we go. I got the message last night as I was sitting, laying in bed. I often get my guidance in the middle of the night. And I asked, okay, show me what else I'm meant to know about this reclamation. And I had a full body download. And the message that I got is I am a clear channel of source. Clear channel means that I am conscious of the shadows, the densities within me. And I am consciously working to bring light to those areas. And that is what this process is. Every part of myself that is in fracture, that is not whole, that's not integrated, needs to be reclaimed and brought back in so that I can be the clearest channel of source possible. And so it is. I have no idea if I'm going to post all of this. Sometimes I make these videos just for me to process what's happening. And then I sit with it for a little while until I feel ready. So I may share this. It may not be straight away, but it felt really powerful to speak these words. And I really encourage you to embrace this type of process for yourself and really be open to receiving the messages about what might be unconscious for you, and allow it in, because rather than it being scary or something to be ashamed of, which I used to have a lot of shame, what if there are these aspects of myself that I can't see that others can see, That was a really big fear of mine. And now that I've opened up, and you have to be able to trust people to reflect this back to you. If they're coming from an unhealed aspect of themselves, sometimes they'll reflect things back to you that actually aren't true about yourself. And that's something I'm having to learn discernment around. But when you do call on people that are also here in service, who are also here for the expansion of consciousness, then you know that you can trust that when they reflect something back to you, that is for your own expansion. And you are able to do with it what you please. You can say, hey, thank you so much. That doesn't feel true for me. Or thank you so much. I sense some truth in that, but I'm not quite ready to see it or quite ready to work with it yet. Or wow, oh my gosh, you just helped put words to something I've been feeling. And now I'm going to go sit with that and see what else is there for me. When we can sit in circle, or we can sit eye to eye across from a sister or a brother and do that for each other, that is how we're going to change humanity. And I am here for it. This is my mission. That's why I say this isn't really even a business. Yes, I offer quantum hypnosis sessions. Yes, I'm integrating Wayfinder life coaching, which is all about integrating this stuff and working through massive life transitions, which I have gone through so many, especially in the last few years. So I know this path, I've walked it. Yes, I offer these tools. I offer them for an exchange, but it's more than that. It is a mission here on Earth for the expansion of consciousness, to be a channel for Source. And I am honored to walk this path. And it's not easy. And there are very few off days. I don't think I have any off days now. I'm always walking this path. It's not to say sometimes I don't give myself, some just human 3D time. I can honestly say that living life this way is the definition of heaven on earth. And I, a few years ago, would have completely rejected that concept. Anything that had any religious undertones to me was completely rejected. But as I've walked the path, I'm like, oh, I understand the truth in that concept. Heaven is not some place that you float off to. You can create your reality, and I'm living in heaven on earth through these experiences, and I see it all as here for the experience. I'm just I'm sure you can tell how much this lights me up. Even these really hard realizations about myself and things that I've carried shame about. I carried shame because I know I was in my distorted power for a long time as well. I was incredibly competitive during certain stages of my life. I saw women as competition. There's only one seat at the table for a woman. And so if she gets it, I can't have it. Well, I don't think that's true anymore. Who created that table? Let's make a new one. Actually, you know what? I don't want a table. Let's sit on the floor in a circle. I see all of it. I embrace all of it. I'm not perfect. I will continue to do the work. I don't think we're ever done. And that's part of the brilliance of it. I've noticed that with mentors, gurus, teachers, when they're coming from a place of I've done all the work and I'm healed, and here I'm just here to tell you that it makes it hard for me to fully connect with someone. And so that's not how I'm going to be. I'm not fully healed. I'm doing the work. I'll share it with you. And I hope that in that you can see yourself and know that there's a point that you get to where you get to live this magical life that you feel no longer at the whim of everything that's happening around you. And you're also not trying to control everything. You just trust. You feel safe. You know that you don't need anything outside of you to make you feel loved. You have reclaimed that within you. And it's a beautiful gift. And I am so grateful to the beautiful mentors and teachers who have helped me get this far. And now I know it's my time to start shining and sharing what I've learned. I think that's where I'm going to leave it. And thank you for following along. I will continue to share. This is part of the process. Thank you.